Imagine you're walking through a primeval forest. You hear the roar of a T-Rex in the distance. You know exactly where the threat is, and your instinct tells you to run or hide. That fear is clear, defined, a monumental force you can locate and react to. But now, imagine a different threat, one you hear nothing from. No roar, no heavy footsteps, not even the rustle of a leaf. Just a dead silence, while you feel deep in your gut that you're being watched. That is the purest, most haunting kind of fear. It's a psychological war where your own mind becomes the enemy, conjuring threats in every shadow. And in the world of dinosaurs, there was a predator that elevated the art of silence and stalking to a horrifying degree. So much so that even a T-Rex, if similarly sized, would have to watch its back. Today's video will pull you into the hunt of this invisible assassin, where every sense you trust becomes useless, and life becomes a waiting game for a death foretold, in utter silence. We're not talking about a mythical creature. We're talking about a real family of dinosaurs, the dromaeosaurids, of which Utahraptor is a formidable, hulking representative. If the T-Rex was nature's furious wrath, a mobile disaster, then this creature was a sophisticated invention, a scalpel sharpened by evolution over millions of years. And its first secret lies not in muscle, but in its skin. Not bumpy scales, but a coat of feathers. That's right, feathers, but not for flying. They were the perfect camouflage and sound-dampening suit, a multi-purpose adaptation for a life of stealth. In a dense forest, light filtering through the canopy creates a disorienting mosaic of light and shadow. A large, smooth-skinned animal would stand out like a beacon, but a body covered in a complex pattern of feathers, it would blend completely into the forest floor, becoming a ghost, a trick of the light. More importantly, the soft, interlocking structure of feathers absorbs and disrupts sound. It muffles the rustle of a body brushing past branches into a faint whisper, and even dampens the subtle thump of its own footsteps. Its pursuit doesn't begin with a roar, but with an eerie, localized quiet. The very world seems to hush around it. To dominate this realm of silence, it was equipped with a hypersensitive sensor array, its eyes. Its large eye sockets faced forward, providing sharp, overlapping binocular vision, arguably granting it better depth perception than a T-Rex. It could judge the distance to a scrambling prey animal with a sniper's precision, peering through the smallest gaps in the foliage to lock on to its target. While you, the prey, were obliviously chewing ferns, those keen, intelligent eyes had been tracking you for minutes, calculating your path, your speed, your moment of greatest weakness. And then, only after closing the distance to mere meters in total silence, would it unleash its signature weapon, the massive sickle-shaped claw on its second toe. Calling this a claw is an understatement. It was a curved biological blade, up to 10 inches long, its inner edge as sharp as a surgical tool. A brilliant tendon mechanism acted like a spring-loaded switch. During movement, the claw was held aloft, kept pristine. In the final instant of the attack, a powerful muscle contracted, snapping it forward with the full kinetic force of the animal's charging leg behind it. Picture this scenario in brutal detail. A hadrosaur is grazing in a sun-dappled clearing. It hears nothing amiss. It smells nothing unusual. Its herd is nearby, providing a false sense of security. Suddenly, from a dense bush just 5 meters away, a feathered phantom explodes forward. There is no warning growl, just a visceral thud of impact, a single piston-driven kick. The sickle claw doesn't slash, it punches and hooks. It plunges deep into the prey's thigh or flank, designed to sever major arteries, slice through vital muscles, and then retract, leaving a gaping, hemorrhaging tunnel. The attack is over in less than 2 seconds. The predator has already disengaged, melting back into the undergrowth to watch with cold detachment. It doesn't risk a dangerous, energy-sapping struggle. It lets shock and catastrophic blood loss do the work. This was death by calculated, efficient trauma. But the sophistication doesn't stop at one devastating kick.
Studies of their hind limb structure reveal something incredible. They weren't just fast runners in a straight line. They had an amazing capacity for rapid turning, pivoting, and powerful leaping. Their slender, lightweight leg bones, anchored by strong tendons and flexible hip joints, turned them into brutal, agile gymnasts. Imagine smaller prey like a primitive mammal or juvenile dinosaur scrambling onto a low rock outcrop for safety. For a ponderous T-Rex, that might be a frustrating obstacle. For this silent stalker, it's a mere launch pad, a powerful, coiled leap from the ground, using the momentum of its sprint, and it's suddenly right there on the ledge, blocking the escape route. No place was safe, not the forest floor, not the treetops, not even modest high ground.
And let's not forget, their arsenal wasn't just on their feet. Their arms, though not for flying, were surprisingly long, flexible, and muscular, tipped with 3 wickedly sharp grasping claws on each hand. While the sickle kick was the finishing move, these arms were the tools for control and butchery. They could grapple a struggling victim, pinning it with shocking strength. Those hand claws were perfect for hooking into flesh, holding prey steady, or delivering deep, slashing wounds to softer underbellies. It was a multi-limbed nightmare, a wrestler of death, combining leverage, strength, speed, and blades on every limb. This leads to a big question. How do we know all this? How do we know they had feathers, hunted in packs, and weaponized silence? The evidence doesn't come from a single perfect fossil, but from a ghastly, multifaceted puzzle pieced together by paleontologists over decades. First, there are the fossilized feather impressions found around the arm and tail bones of Utahraptor and its close relatives. They weren't flight feathers, but long, hair-like filaments, evidence of a coating for insulation and likely camouflage. Second, and perhaps most chilling, are the bone beds. At sites like one in Utah, USA, multiple skeletons of a plant-eating dinosaur called iguanodon have been found concentrated alongside the teeth and bones of several Utahraptor individuals. This strongly suggests a collective hunt, where a herd of hadrosaurs was ambushed and taken down by a pack of Utahraptors. The bite marks and cut patterns on the prey bones show a coordinated, multi-directional assault. Finally, CT scans of the sickle claw bone structure reveal deep grooves running its length. Scientists believe these channeled major blood vessels, supplying a long, sharp keratinous sheath covering the bone, like our fingernails, but a sword. This structure was too specialized for a single purpose, inflicting deep, hemorrhaging wounds. But what transformed them from solitary assassins into a truly dominant force was their intelligence and social behavior. Their brains, relative to body size, were among the largest in the dinosaur world. The fossil evidence suggests they were capable of coordinated pack hunting. Imagine you are large prey. You might fend off one attacker. But what do you do when 3 or 4 surround you at once? And they don't charge in chaos. They coordinate in absolute silence. One might appear in front to draw your attention. Meanwhile, the others, ghost-like, have closed in from the flanks and rear. No signals, no calls. Everything is directed through glances and subtle gestures. By the time you realize you're surrounded, it's too late. A simultaneous, lightning-fast attack from all directions. You stand no chance. That silence wasn't an accident. In a world teeming with larger, dangerous competitors, the element of surprise was survival. A noisy hunt would attract other predators looking to steal their hard-won meal or even target them. Silence ensured near absolute success and protected them. It was pure, encoded cleverness. And that is the core difference between the fear a T-Rex inspired and the horror wrought by this silent stalker. The T-Rex was a storm you saw coming from miles away. This was an invisible nightmare. It was the feeling of being watched in perfect silence, where every bush became a suspect and safety was an illusion. You became a prisoner of your own heightened awareness. So, is silence the ultimate sophisticated weapon? Not quite. Nature had one more secret weapon, even more insidious and painful: venom. Was there truly a dinosaur that possessed such a deadly tool? Join me as we hunt for the answer in the next video.